And we are live. Okay, everybody. Copper Dan treasure found. A lot of people were racing to get it, but these gentlemen right here are the ones who found it. So, congratulations, and they are all here to tell the story. Tell them how we're going to do this, K-Pro, half and half on tonight's show.
Okay, so we do have some Forrest Fenn content. There's some other finders in other treasure hunts. His name is Jack. You guys probably haven't heard anything about it because these are the four guys that we're all talking about. But a guy named Jack found the Forrest Fenn treasure. He has some new mail out. We're going to talk to it. We have a couple of other things updated. But we have some exciting things happening because the Copper Dan hunt, if you didn't know, we're in 2022 and Copper Dan's hunt took about a year like he expected. And, and he'll go over that, but no, it's very smart guys. They're going to tell their story.
Thank you, Mike. Can you make me fall down the steps too?
No, I won't do that one.
So Copper Dan's going to introduce his hunt. If you weren't around the last 3 days because it wasn't there 3 days ago, poof, these guys found it, killed it, and they have a fabulous video up. We want to shoot you over to their YouTube channel for you to subscribe, and then we'll go into the latter part of the show tonight on the little known Forrest Fenn hunt and the updates. But we had to break in here because this is breaking news. Not only was it found, they have awesome video. Jack, take notes really tonight. Go watch that video. And which one of you guys just need to ask Jack for a silver eagle or whatever, double eagle, and you can do his video too. No, but it's an awesome video. So I'm going to let them tell their stories. I'll shut up, but we're going to start with Copper Dan. I'm going to ask the room, put it at KPro if you have questions along the way. We will just kind of have fun tonight for about half an hour, 40 minutes. And then we will see, but we want to hear from these guys because they're kind of awesome. Go ahead, Copper Dan. Tell us about this treasure hunt.
All right. Well, if you haven't been paying attention in the last week, I created a hunt called How to Turn Copper into Gold, the Magic Box. It involved a king, a kingdom, a princess, 4 jealous brothers. There was a poem, there was a map, there was a coin with a compass on the back of it, and you needed all these things put together. And I thought I wrote this sneakiest, most conniving treasure. And the whole time writing this, I didn't even know of these 4 gentlemen. Well, I know Ed, but he wasn't even on my radar. I was thinking I was worried about this girl named Jana, Minnesota, because she's from Minnesota. So I had to be very careful with my clues.
They were on the way.
But
they were close.
I don't know exactly where my mistake was made. Maybe just in general, it was just too easy. But I put an anagram in the poem. The king's name was King Michiguig. And I made up this name from the word Gitchi Gumi, which I didn't think most people would know, except if you were from Minnesota. Gitchi Gumi is the Indian word for Lake Superior.
The Edmund Fitzgerald song is why I think more people might know it.
Yep, and it is in the Edmund Fitzgerald song.
But somebody in the Zoom we did that night mentioned it. Otherwise, I don't think I would have got it. But
I wanted to put some Edmund Fitzgerald reference into this because it's a real special poem or song to me. I always know the date, November 10th, 1974 is when it sank. But anyways, I'm like, nope, I can't do that. It's a dead giveaway. Unfortunately, these 4 gentlemen, amongst a few others, but these guys got there first.
Okay, so we've heard from Dan about this great hunt. It was so clever. So you guys got it cracked in probably an hour? And so tell us the story, because I know Ed and I went back and forth a little bit. How did it start? You guys weren't partnered at the beginning. How did you come together? When did you guys got up at 3:45? Our crew got up there the night before. But no one could catch you guys in your lightning speed. So I'd love to hear your story from 3:45 or the night before, or, however that goes.
Go
ahead, Josh. Yeah, I'll lead it off. I think I found out about the hunt from, I believe it was a Reddit post just a few hours before it launched. And then I registered. And I was really, really taken with the idea of this coin. And when I registered, I was sent the reverse of the coin, and I got really excited about the idea of it pointing north because we live in Minnesota, the four of us do. And odds are pretty good if there's something to the north, Minnesota's potentially involved, right? So that was the first thing that got me a little bit excited after having registered. Then I saw the Michigaoug anagram, and it was off to the races.
Well, the funny thing was you had mentioned it to me on Wednesday, and I was kind of like, yeah, I'll take a look, and then I forgot and I went to bed. And then the next day I got up and Todd's like, hey, I think there's an anagram. I think it's Gitchigumi. And I was like, oh, I'm interested. Let's go.
Yeah. Well,
now, Josh and Todd, you guys know each other?
Yeah.
Previous to this?
Yeah, all four of us actually know each other, but we hadn't really been planning on working together. It just kind of organically happened. I started reaching out to people like, hey, I talked to Matt because I thought he might know something about the survey markers. And it just kind of went from there. We all kind of came up with our own things that we knew about, and it just really worked out well. And we all kind of put the pieces together.
Can I chime in real quick? So you figured out the anagram, and if I had to do it again, I may not put that in there, but still don't know how much it would have slowed you up. Did you get the reference of the Great King being Lake Superior, his four brothers being the other four Great Lakes?
Those sort of fell into place. At one point, I believe I said something like, if you look at Lake Superior, it looks like a finger, and that's pointing straight at Duluth, which yep. I just as an aside real quick, your clues were so good. And I know that we probably have a little bit of bias, but at the end of the day, you put together such a masterfully written hunt that it's hard to say, it's hard to find anything to say negatively about it. You did such a good job. So thank you so much from all of us. That was so
absolutely
cool.
Dan.
Okay, so now you guys are Friday noon-ish maybe, or Friday sometime in the middle of the day. And I know lots were talking about I know in the background, I probably got 30 messages of, I know the general location, I'm working on the exact spot. Several said they had the exact spot. I think it was about Friday afternoon. I figured out it was a foot race. I was trying to get flights in. I thought it would be over before I could get flights in. So when did you decide to team up? Why didn't you go Friday night? A lot of people, there was somebody out there Friday night. So, and then Monica. I know you guys were out there in the morning. So what was I think it was about Friday midday. It was this is a foot race. This is a prize. I mean, Did you guys get the urgency? Kind of what happened there?
Well, just to say, so I know at least three of us, I don't know if Matt Ludvigson has, but we do a lot of searching for the Pioneer Press treasure hunt, local St. Paul hunt. And hunting at night is kind of a rite of passage for that. There's people out there with super bright headlights or headlamps. It just looks, sometimes by the end of the hunt, it looks like daylight out there because there's so many headlamps. But the idea of going, and we've all done that. But the idea of going up north to the North Shore and hiking in the middle of the night didn't super appeal to me. So we decided we were going to take the gamble, sleep on it, and wake up and get up and go up there with the daylight. And we just kind of figured, once we got up there and hiking through there and getting up to the peak, we'd have a better shot at finding it in the light.
I'm glad you waited till morning. When I heard there were people going up, I'm like, God dang, it is slippery. If you don't bring your crampons with, you're probably going to be on your butt.
Now, before that, you guys weren't partnered. So how did this Friday brought this winning team together? What happened?
I'd like to chime in a little on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Normally throughout the year, like Josh mentioned, the Pioneer Press Winter Carnival Treasure Hunt is the center of our universe. I take a vacation for 2 weeks, and many guys do. What most of you don't know is Josh Ellingson is the 2020 finder of the $10,000 Winter Carnival medallion.
Hey, all right.
The reigning champion.
That's awesome.
So he, throughout the year, him and Todd and many other treasure hunters are basically the competition. And sometimes the best way to fight competition is to create an ally. And I think some point along the way, they had the brilliant solve. Me and my friend Matt Littlefield were about an hour south of them in Two Harbors, but they thought maybe they'd realize that we'd catch up at a certain point because the clues progressed very first noun, first reference from 61 to 35 to.
And you always do catch up, so it's just gonna happen.
Have you ever knocked each other over out there? Like, I'm going for, or is it that close of a range? Like, I can, now that I've seen you guys hiking, I can picture it.
I'm sitting in my basement in White Bear Lake, and actually this past summer, Ed showed up and got it out from underneath Josh.
Yeah.
It was good to see him hold it on our team for once.
I'm not going to lie. It was a strategic partnership.
Are you still partners for the Pioneer Press, or is you going to go your own way?
The gloves are off.
We have our own separate teams, but there's a certain gamesmanship and camaraderie, and there's some honesty and a little bit of red herring playing.
Yeah, but you're all
there's a
going
little
down this year.
history.
Yeah,
This is fun. This is fun. Okay, so do you guys have like team names and team shirts, and like we could root for? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, got a team name.
We do, yeah. So a common reference to coming up with ideas in the hunt is having a noodle, right? Using your noodle, coming up with a noodle. So our team name is Team Send Nudes, and that's our that's our team name for the hunt.
Nice. Okay, so somehow arch enemies, nemesis of one another, come together for the perfect. Copper Dan makes peace in the world. So you guys are now you guys didn't drive all up together, because I noticed somebody was in the car. And wait, who owns the dog? The dog was the star of the show. Okay.
You can see a picture of her right back there.
Nice.
Copper sniffing dog.
Say that again.
Was it a copper sniffing dog?
Yeah, I trained her before we went up. I made sure she knew what she was sniffing for. Yeah.
Well, Josh, what's her name?
So her name is Penny. Yeah. Yeah. She's
That's a fitting name. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, these guys made an awesome video of the find. They recorded it all the way up there. They recorded the content. So I'm putting the link to that video in the chat right now. After our live show, go and watch that video. Go and subscribe to TC Treasure. And I was just wondering, who does the YouTube channel, TC Treasure? Is that all you guys? Is it just
that's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do the user experience for TC Treasure, which is a local treasure hunting outfit that I've been involved with since 2015.
And that's there in Minnesota?
Yep. It's local to Minneapolis and St. Paul, but there are hunts all around the metro area.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, everybody. TC Treasure. Go and subscribe and go check out the video.
Okay, guys, there's 13 subscribers. There's 100 of you in the room. I expect there to be at least 100 subscribers by the end of tonight. So I challenge you. Okay, so now we're at 3:40 in the morning. You guys are heading out from wherever you are, and you guys meet at the bottom. I'm expecting, or I think that you're meeting at the bottom of the base at that parking lot. You get there by 7, 8-ish, 9-ish?
About 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, we all arrive within 2 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
So when you drove up, when you rolled over that hill down in Duluth, did you went, okay, we're at the first clue? Were you kind of thinking that in your head, or were you pretty much
none
just
of us got the Silver Creek for the we figured the Rainbow Creek was rainbow trout with the creek, because when you did, what made me have the absolute commitment to make that 4-hour drive was seeing Todd Pittman's overlay map of your original drawing with Brighton Peak. It's a perfect match all the way up to the peak with the creek and everything. Was that Matt?
Yep.
So basically by that time though, you guys aren't guessing. Like I feel like this one was not like, I feel like on the Forrest Fenn hunt, you think you know, and then you get there and you go, maybe not. This one was like, we just got to get our butts up there. Like,
I mean,
there's so many confirmers.
There was maybe a brief moment of doubt when we had just reached the summit, and it started to become apparent that there was a little bit more space to go over than we had initially anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
And because we couldn't find the benchmarks and line our coin up, we also didn't have the coin yet. We hadn't found it yet.
I was just going to say, without the metal detector, do you think you guys could have found it? And Dan, follow-up question, do you think people were going to wait till spring to actually go look for this thing? Yeah.
I think with Occam's razor, these guys would have found it, even if they hadn't brought me along with my metal detector and my treasure hunting sense, they would have found it in short order. It's just a matter of knowing about where the original two blazes were and an approximation of 30 to 50 paces northward.
Yeah, so Dan, I was watching your the video last night, and you were talking about how you weren't sure, or you didn't know that they could be found online, the blazes, and we ended up finding the exact GPS coordinates of both of those survey markers, and I feel like without that it would have been a lot more difficult. Like getting up there, we kind of just looked around. We're like, oh no, I don't know where they are. Like there's a foot of snow on the ground. There's no way we can find these. But we did luckily have. I had made a map with 2 pins of where those survey markers were.
And that's what. So I get up. So I go live Thursday night. I launch the hunt. I come on Cowlazars, and I get off of here, and it's like I gotta go to bed. I couldn't even really go watch the Zoom. I did a little bit. I'm like, I need to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, jump on a plane, get to Florida. So I get off the plane in Florida, and I turn my phone on, and it's just lighting up with multiple people that are narrowing in. And I'm like, okay, but I'm still okay because they're getting they know it's the North Shore, but will they get, will they get that clue that Bluefin Bay, or that Fish of Blue is Bluefin Bay, not actual bay, it's a resort. And a turn to set is a turn to the left up the South Loop Trail. And about by that evening, I'm getting emails going, okay, now they know it's Carlton Peak, but they're not going to find the blazes because the blazes are under snow. So they're going to have to force this. And then, on Saturday.
Oh yes, they are. Well, wait, let's go back.
And I'm starting to worry. I'm not. I have a very bad feeling in my stomach at this point because I know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know treasure hunters, and I know they're going to be crafty. And I didn't even think about a metal detector, but kudos. That was smart to bring a metal detector.
Okay, we need to take a stop for a second because we have a $50 super chat for the great show we're having tonight. So it's a great second place because these guys crushed it. William McDowell, thank you very much. Michael hit that little button eventually. So how long did it take you? Now, were you able to go down 33 or did you have to go up a different way?
We went on the Sawbill Trail to the Britton Peak trailhead. I did look at that and I was kind of watching for it as we went, but I noticed that it was a low maintenance road. I assumed it wasn't going to be plowed. Even in summer, it said you need high clearance. So we kind of just skipped that.
Yeah, they stopped our group and didn't let them on. You had to have a snowmobile and they directed them the other direction. So
well, I'm glad we didn't try.
Snowmobiling time, yeah.
So let me ask, I thought using the coin on the geo survey marker was genius, Dan. I thought that was a great idea.
Thank you.
Most people, I think, when they paid and got the back of the coin, it was like, hey, that kind of looks familiar. Oh yeah, it's one of these survey triangular things, triangulation, whatever they use them for. So that part was great. I think what did you in was what's the name of the Lake Superior? What's the anagram?
Gitchagumi.
Gitchagumi.
There's really only one place that fits. Once you figure out Gitchagumi, it's like, it's got to be the Lake Superior area. It wasn't like, but it could be this in another state. That was kind of specific.
There were a few. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just going to say, I realized quickly because of how fast you guys figured that out, like literally within minutes to an hour of when we got off, I made a mistake. But what a cool name for the king, though. I mean, it was an obvious thing that it was an anagram and it wasn't good supposed to. Some people got, we're like, Dan, you shouldn't have said it's an anagram. I'm like, hello. I mean, it's such an odd name.
I think with that, you just gave us a really wide area to start with, while at the same time narrowing it down from the entire country. And there were all sorts of other locations around the lake in Michigan and in Wisconsin that could have worked. I think one of the things that gave us a slight advantage was the fact that we all have an affinity for the North Shore. And we know certain little things and nuances that weren't necessarily clues you hinted at, but things that led us to believe it was in that area already anyway. The idea of a colored creek and the Rainbow Creek image led me to believe it had something to do with the Temperance River or the Cascade River because of the multicolored flowing nature of those waters.
And when actually, in actuality, so when you head north out of two harbors, through Duluth, you're traveling north, you go through two harbors, you go by Betty's Pies. You guys should have stopped there and got a pie on your way back, and best pies in the world. And shortly after that, you come to this big granite rock they blasted a hole through, and it is called the Silver Creek, I think the Silver Creek Tunnel. And I saw that, and when I was driving up there I went up there last summer just to scout it out. Again, I've been up there many times, but I needed to see it to write the clues. And I saw that one, that's a clue, but I can't use the word Silver Creek, but we'll come up and I went, oh yeah. If I use the word travel through the colored creek, people are going to be thinking actual water when you're going through a tunnel. So I thought that was.
And we definitely were still thinking water, or at least like an area named for water rather than the actual tunnel. We drove straight through that tunnel without even putting it together. It was dark, but whatever.
Well, and the interesting part is, for a non-local, I haven't been to Minnesota. I think I went once to St. Paul for a conference 20 years ago.
I'm sorry.
All I did was, once we had the Gitchagumi, and then I actually just went around and found the Danger, and then backtracked the two and went, oh, that's where the highway changes. That's where and then once it hit Danger, then I saw the silver, and I'm like, and then Mike actually found the 1952 reference, and I was like, I'm getting on a plane now. And he's like, no, you're not. It's 5 hours. I'm like, nah. Like, that's the aha moment that you want. The one that you go, this is it. And he's like, no.
You still need to get out here. And for anyone who's not been to Minnesota, the North Shore is absolutely beautiful. And that was part of what made this hunt so fun, was getting to the top of that peak, but also just the experience of walking through that beautiful location. We've been up there many times. I've never been up that peak. It's gorgeous.
Same. Yeah.
Well, so how long did it take you?
You should see it in the fall.
How long did it take you from bottom to top of it? About a half an hour to walk
40 minutes.
Okay. So now you're at the top. Little winded. It looks like there's some elevation, but Copper Dan told all of us to be prepared. So you're at the top now. Everything's under, and you have a little bit of markers, but how long did you venture? What's your next step? From you get to the top, you have a metal detector, you have a copper sniffing dog, you have 4 big strong men. What's your next step from, it's 30 paces, it's due north. Do you start digging around? What do you do?
I had the metal detector set to all metals at first. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Step one was finding the old foundations of the fire tower, which is now gone, because we knew that the markers were around there. I would like to go back and find those markers. That's something that
can't wait to bring my coin back and line it up and walk it off.
So, I'm trying to remember which footing. I'm trying to think my directions here. I want to say it was the southwest footing. Yeah, the southwest footing. It's about 2 paces. It's about 9 feet from it.
Okay.
I actually got a story. I'll let you guys keep going, but I will. I'll tell a story about that.
Once we found the foundation, we could reason to some level that within 30 paces of that radius, we could look. But that's where it starts to sink in that there's snow, there's drifts on top of the peak. And we're just not sure if we're in the right spot. If we're not sure if we're going to be able to find it or if this is buried. And
the blaze might be broken. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So now, do you guys take different roles or different strategies? Like, one of you metal detector, one of you are digging in the snow, one of you is trying to, what's you're a team of 4. So I'm assuming not everybody's watching one person. How long did it take you from top of peak to get the treasure, and how did you find it?
I don't think we talked about different roles. We pretty much scattered right away. I started looking for the survey markers right away. I felt like I wanted to find one and start pacing it off. Ed was sweeping with the metal detector, trying to find those things. Then we kind of just, once we figured out we're not going to find these markers, we kind of went where we thought they were, paced it off, and then started looking for rock crevices. Right in the immediate area where I thought 30 paces there was nothing, there was no rocks. It was forest floor, dirt.
It was tough to get an accurate 30 paces because it was downhill, it was slippery.
Yes, it is. you're walking over trees down that. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So we kind of, at that point, after making those 30 paces and looking around, I started to get a little nervous. And then we kind of came back up, regrouped, started fanning out from there. I don't know, it was probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes. What would you say?
About 25 minutes. That was my
That's-
estimation.
Yeah. But
By 25 nervous minutes.
Yeah.
Did anyone else show up while you guys were up there?
No.
No, but I think if you guys wouldn't have found it, somebody would have found it that day. Because I think there were multiple people that were on their way that were going to look, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know of at least one car that was only about 15 minutes away from the foot of the mountain.
Dana and
when we
Alex.
found it. So it was definitely a foot race, and it was one of the most exciting and thrilling experiences of my life.
That's awesome. So I have a very important question for you four. Who gets Copper Dan coin number 1?
We haven't decided yet, but we have.
Oh, awkward,
So
Mike. Thanks for
originally, when we
that.
got the chests, we just decided to ask each other that we were going to do visitation rights. I get the first week to actually hold the chest. Hi, Kitty. I get the chest for the first week just to play with and look at and stare at and take pictures of. And then next week, we're all getting together at Summit Brewery in St. Paul, which seemed fitting to do the chest swapping where Josh gets his week. After 4 weeks, everyone gets a full week with it at home. At the end of that, we'll divvy it up, and it looks like most of it divides pretty well between 4 guys. There's a few exceptions between the Fenn coin, the number 1, the gold.
I think we should make it like the Stanley Cup, and we just tour it around the country.
Yeah.
That's nice. But wait, we didn't talk about who put their hands on it first. Who found it, even though it's a team. Who, got the victory.
So I'm going to credit Ed with the find. He found the spot. I ran down there when he said I got a hit on silver. I dug in there, found the geocache. Was very disappointed. Put the geocache aside.
Well, those that haven't seen the video, can you explain that? This was a geocache, and Copper Dan, red herring. Go ahead. Explain that a little bit, because people don't know that haven't seen the video yet.
Yeah, so there was a geocache in there with a container. I don't know. It was probably as big as my head.
I think it's a Folgers coffee.
Yep. Yeah. There you go.
Folgers coffee. It's a plastic Folgers coffee thing.
Yeah. And so that was what was immediately visible after moving the snow around it. Took that out. Opened it up. Looked inside.
You were supposed to open it and look inside.
We did open it. I looked inside briefly and I put it down, and then I was like, I just got to look and see if there's anything behind it. And I kept going. So I did not see the note that you left in there at first.
I went back and grabbed that a couple seconds later.
Yeah, we did find it eventually. But I remember distinctly saying, wait. I feel something solid in here. So I pulled it out, and then it was way heavier than I was expecting it to be. It was not a one-handed grab. It was a two-handed grab.
That was a lot of copper, right?
Yeah.
And here, I'm going to show a picture of what it was for anybody that doesn't know. Check it out. This is from the video on TC Treasure, which everybody should go subscribe to and watch this video. Look at that. There's the gold coin. There's coin number 1. There's a Forrest Fenn Searcher coin. That's a pretty awesome one, I think. And then there's a lot of silver, a lot of copper. So yeah, you guys are definitely, that's a good problem to have though, to find out who gets what. And of course, the original Forrest Fenn arrowhead. So Dan, good job on the treasure. That is awesome. And good job on the treasure hunt. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
We've decided as a group what to do with the Forrest Fenn arrowhead. It's one of those things that following maybe with a theme about the end of the storyline and what to do with the treasure or to be cursed. And I think one of those things that would be beneficial is we're going to donate the arrowhead or auction arrowhead and donate the proceeds to St. Jude's. And that's one way to
that's awesome.
Give back a little bit, but take care of that one specific item that would probably be really hard to divvy up between the 4 of us.
Well, let me tell you the story. I don't know if all 4 of you know the story of me with St. Jude's, and as well as people in the room. About maybe a little over a year ago, I got Forrest, so I bought a map from Mike. Mike sells the Forrest Fenn maps. I got it to Forrest. I got him to sign it. sent back to me. I built this really beautiful walnut frame. I inlaid copper arrowheads, 9 of them to represent the 9 clues. And then I put it all together with the signed map, and we auctioned it off. We raised upwards of close to 3,000, and I gave all that money to St. Jude's. So St. Jude's sent me that little pendant. I actually forgot I put that in there. But I think I just felt, I don't remember, but I want to say I just felt at the time that it was meant to go in there to look over the treasure. So I think that's really,
this is a pay
really
it
cool
forward
what you guys are doing with it.
Yeah, like I think the hunts that a lot of us do are inspired by Forrest Fenn, so that's awesome. And if anybody questions Nelica, I mean, we know Nelica. My son was given a Forrest Fenn arrowhead from Nelica last year, and she's the real deal. So there's no question to any of us that knew Forrest. And I asked at the time, I said, how many did you give Nelica? And he laughed. Forrest is like, oh, she'll do the right things with them. She's such a good person. So I am so glad to see that happened. So there are some questions in the chat of, did you take any GPS coordinates before you went up to know exactly where you should be going for that benchmark? Which I thought was an interesting question.
We did. I do have them noted down. We didn't have an actual like super accurate device. We were kind of just using our phones. And if you zoom in really close on the satellite view, you can actually see the foundation. So you can kind of get an idea of where you should be to find the survey markers.
Okay, another question. I'm sorry, go ahead, Copper Dan.
I want to talk I'll be really fast with my story because I know you have questions. So I went up there in the summer. I went up there in June or July, and I found that one survey marker. And I took a picture of it, and I started designing the coin around it. Then I went up there. My wife wanted to go up to Bluefin for her birthday in November. So I went up there, and this was still pre-snow. And I went up there, and I couldn't find my own clue. I could not find it. I couldn't remember where it was. And I found the other survey marker that I didn't know was there. And it's down the slope. It's about 50 feet away. I went, oh. Then I eventually found found it. I lined my coin up on it. I went to find the spot to where I was just stumbling around in there, looking for a good spot. And I saw that container, and it was camo. I went, it's a freaking geocache. So I went over and I looked in it, and I looked underneath it. I'm like, this is perfect. I can use this spot. This geocache hasn't been found in 12 years. It's dead. No one's coming back to it. And in case they do, that's why the treasure chest went underneath. I put some leaves over it. I set it on top, and I put the coin in there with the note that said, look quickly down your quest to cease with the copper Dan coin. I figured anyone that's searching for my treasure is going to understand what that means. But if somebody stumbles upon that geocache, they're going to just take the coin and leave, hopefully, and not get the treasure.
Yeah, I would say that was the riskiest part. I think that when I saw the geocache, I was like, don't people go to those all the time? Okay, so we have 2 questions. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, I looked it up when we got home, and it's not an active one anymore. You can't find it.
Yeah,
so
okay.
it's not.
And I
listed
checked on that. I did check on that. So
nice. Okay, so 1 question for the guys, and then 1 question for Copper Dan. So you brought beer. You brought it up there. That lightened the, I'm sure you just did it to make sure that you could get up there with a load, and then you drank a little and came back down. What did you drink? That was the plan to toast? I mean, that was probably the most fun part. I thought, and I haven't seen it in the video. I just saw the pictures afterwards, so I'm excited to go back to the video.
Actually, not up on the peak. We decided we were going to go to Castle Danger Brewery, but with the
Nice.
the government shutdown, we weren't able to actually go to their outdoor garden. So just down the block was the 2 lighthouses by Agate Beach, and we decided that was a good spot to visit the liquor store. And of course, the rest of the gentlemen appropriately had Castle Danger Ale. I had my staple Rolling Rock beer, and we laid it all out on the table and took our pictures and said our goodbyes and made our plans for next week's celebration and the changing of the chest again.
It was one of the biggest mistakes we made that day, was not remembering to bring up beer to the summit.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, so you didn't bring it up to the
a little
summit.
presumptuous. I don't know. That's kind of
Tempting fate. I
don't want to jinx it. Yeah.
Well, it could have been if you went up to the top, it wasn't there. That was your like misery part of
Yeah.
at least
Into
I
our
have a
beer.
beer.
That's a good reframe. I like that.
Did you guys search for? There's a question from the room of did you guys search for the Forrest Fenn treasure, and if you did, what state were you in?
Oh,
I
No,
never left the armchair for that one. My solve was just immediately north of Santa Fe in New Mexico. I did not have a very robust solve. I was maybe taking the armchair component a little too literally.
Oh,
I
none of
never-
us did except Jack.
never
What about
committed
you,
as
Josh or
far
Matt?
as. Go ahead.
Oh no, so Ed, you said you didn't, right?
Well, I didn't get as far as Jana and Brad, who actually got out there. I think they made two separate trips. And very early on, we're thinking Warm Waters Halt was likely the Yellowstone caldera. So beyond there was a lot of theories about the home of Brown and everything beyond. The clues were meant to be lineal, which is the most enjoyable style of clue, where it starts you at a point, and if you understand that to the next, and it will lead you to the treasure if you're understanding the unravel. But I had never been boots on the ground. I was armchair, and I didn't have the confidence like I did with Copper Dan's. We knew the clues, we saw the references, everything was being referenced firsthand, from the Bluefish to the Bluefin Bay to the Sawbill Trail to finding the saw to the bright spot Brighton Trail, the high spot where the princess buried the treasure at the top of a peak. Carlton was one of the tallest around there. And then we did the map overlay with Matt had discovered. It's perfect. And it's like, I'm driving 4 hours to find a chest in the morning. Let's all leave at 4. And we all knew. I think we were all smiling the entire 4 hours on the way up. We knew.
I think our initial plan was to leave at 5.
Yes.
And then I believe Josh wisely said, let's push that up maybe an hour or even 2. And I think we split the difference, and that ended up making all the difference in the
Good
world.
decision.
Right.
What about you, Josh or Matt? Or were you guys Forrest Fenn hunters, chasers?
I was similar to Ed, never boots on the ground. I discovered it pretty late in the game, maybe a year and a half ago or so. So I never got too far into it. No.
I'm new to this world, so I learned of it through these guys. Josh kind of ropes me in on these from time to time, but it's a great story. I had heard about somebody hiding a treasure somewhere in the world, and what people would do to go and find it, but it's intoxicating. It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think it made me realize you want that aha moment. It's actually not any particular hunt. I've been on hunts for $50. I've been on hunts for 1,000. I've been on hunts for 1,000,000. And it's that aha, just give me, Mike always jokes, give me the gold. I don't care if it's gold or not.
Ed got right back to work. He's already found what, 2 more?
Ooh.
Yeah. I found one in Como yesterday and another one today. One of our dedications at the end of the video, you'll see dedications to several of our fellow treasure hunters. I do a treasure hunt of my own called Hunter for the Horde. Todd does the Great Twin Cities treasure hunt. Our friend Steven does Medallion Militia, who was one of the dedicants at the end of the video. He does a small hunt throughout the year. He does a main hunt every spring, but he had a fun one. So yeah, we don't stop with this passion.
Nice. Well, and I think that's the difference too. I was a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter, and I'm getting into other hunts. Mike's been doing treasure hunts for decades, and he kind of dabbled he never went out. He's like, I didn't have a solid, I've won other ones that are smaller in cash, but so I put him as like you guys, the treasure hunters, and I'm now trying to get into it more. Starting with Forrest Fenn's hard though, because
I mean, a lot of us have been doing this since we were very young, and I mean, I said it in Candy's chat a couple days ago or yesterday. In a lot of ways, for me, this was a childhood dream fulfilled, and I don't want to speak for the rest of my team, but there was a lot of that kind of talk going around, and we just can't say thank you enough.
Okay, Skip Pop said, so who found the treasure? These 4 guys. These 4 guys found the treasure as a team, and there was a dog involved. I'm not going to say whether he was copper sniffing. They're keeping that to themselves. But I do have one hard-hitting question, Copper Dan. We know from the Forrest Fenn hunt, some people get injured. I will tell you, our team did not feel as safe as, or they could go as quickly. When the guys marched through, there was no question. I think they're like you, Copper Dan, fit, ready to go, etc. There was some concerns of safety. I know you were thinking no one's going to solve it till spring. Doing it over again, would you have rethought that? Did you consider the safety piece to it, like a Flatlander?
Well, did everybody read the full website?
Yeah, of course.
Where I said, I said it is not in a dangerous spot. However,
right,
it's in a challenging spot. So come prepared and I'm not going to like lay it out for you that, you're going to be climbing. I wanted to, I didn't want to completely give it away, even though it got solved quickly, anyways, but no, I would, my next hunt will be in a challenging spot. If you're going to hunt for my hunts, you're not going to be going out in a park. You're going to be going at least, I'm not going to give a distance. At least a mile, but it all depends.
So long distance elevation. Okay.
Not always necessarily elevation. I'm not giving away anything on where the next one's going.
Yeah, no, that's good. I know that feedback. I think Forrest Fenn didn't have the understanding, because there wasn't 10 years of his hunt, that people would risk it, even if he said don't risk it, because we know about Randy Ballou, we know about others. We have that hindsight. It's an ethical dilemma. That's all. Now
the problem with the Carlton Peak, and you guys probably didn't walk too close to the edges at this time of the year because it's really slippery. But in the summer, I've walked right to the edge, and if you slip, it ain't gonna feel good. You're
well, I put in Carlton Peak deaths, and there's been many people that have slipped during not slippery times, and that's what I was actually. Once I heard, our partner said, I don't feel safe, and I said, then just don't go. I don't care if there's $10,000 worth of gold. It's not worth it if you don't feel safe.
Well, a lot of them do. I think there are climbers that come up the back sides and stuff. If you come up the way these guys went and stay on the trail, you're going to be fine. And I didn't put the treasure, if you understood the blaze, you weren't going anywhere near no ledge. I wanted to put it closer where you guys were. If you continued to head in that same direction, the arrow points, there's a nice ledge with some rocks you can just sit on, and it's just a beautiful view, and it's dead quiet, peaceful. And
we should also,
okay,
we could also point out that we got one of the nicest days you can ever have in a January north of Duluth. It was a beautiful, perfect day for that.
32 degrees.
Yeah.
Sun came out for a trek down the mountain. It was beautiful.
Yeah, we were very lucky that way.
That's awesome. So I will say, I appreciate you guys were at 14, you're now at 22. There's 120 people in this chat. Go check out, Mike, if you'll put the link again, probably one of the best videos of the treasure hunt find. So you can truck along as the 6th member of this team, 4 guys, 1 dog, and us along the ride, which is, I think, the best part. Again, Jack, you can hire them. They can help you. I'm sure you have video and pictures. And so for those of you not in the Forrest Fenn hunt, Jack's the finder of the treasure chest, or we think. We're going to go over his new mail in just a minute, but I want to give you guys any parting words before we move on to the Forrest Fenn Jack Scott mail. So especially maybe you finish it up, Copper Dan, but from each of you guys.
Well, do you mind really quick? Do you mind if I take like 2 minutes and just go over actually what the clues were for anyone that doesn't know them?
Sure. And and put your website, because I know you outlined it there too, but definitely.
Mike, can you pull up my website?
Yeah, give me one.
And just go right to the poem.
And as that's happening, there is a request from the chat room. Indy has asked for the next treasure hunt inside the box to have a copper tiara, because she's going to be taking the next one home.
Hey, actually that was discussed for this one. It just didn't happen. Okay. So if you read the fairy tale, there were two ways to get you in the general region. One was the anagram. The other one was using the king and his four brothers, which equals 5. So 5 would have led you to the 5 Great Lakes. Of course, the biggest of those Great Lakes is Lake Superior. So now you're in the general region. If you look at Lake Superior on a map, it looks like a finger that points. So the Great King points the way is pointing towards Duluth, Minnesota, where one road ends, a new begins. Highway 35 that runs north to south all the way from Texas to Minnesota. So if you're driving up from the Twin Cities, like I figured most people probably would be coming up from that way, where it ends, it literally ends at a stop sign. You take a right and you're now on Highway 61. Travel through the Colored Creek. As you travel up, you're going to travel through a tunnel called Silver Creek. And then you continue on towards the bay. The question is, which bay? There's a whole lot of it. There's Silver Bay, all kinds of bays up that way. Head towards danger along your quest. I kind of wish I wouldn't have used this clue. There's a town called Castle Danger. I just felt to go all the way from the Silver Creek tunnel up to Bluefin Bay it's like a 70-mile stretch, and I felt I needed one extra clue in there just for confirmation. So head towards danger is Castle Danger. A fish of blue and a turn to set. So the fish of blue is Bluefin Bay, which is a resort I've stayed at many times, beautiful resort. And a turn to set is turn to the west, turn to the sunset. From here, a saw will take you there. You are turning onto the Sawtooth Trail. Your creek soon crossed. You're going to cross over Carlton Creek because you're going to Carlton Peak. A bright spot to rest is, I think it's actually pronounced Britain Peak, but I thought Brighton Peak kind of a plan, whereas I felt it was a good enough clue. So that's where you park. And then you get out of your car. The trail now narrows through wooded path. I don't know if you guys were able to notice, but there are wooden planks on the first third of the trail over the swampy area.
A teammate of ours that wasn't able to make it with us pointed that out to us just before we left.
The climb is worth the great reward. Obviously, you guys understood the climb. If you're not in shape, it's going to kick your butt. Don't forget to switch without air. So when you guys got up to the, there's a box on the trail where you can sign in. At that point, if you don't turn to the right and keep going, you're going to end up down the Temperance River. So switch without air. Without air means you're correct. Another word for correct is right. So don't forget to switch to the right. A lookout once was a fiery wrath. When you get to the top, there's the old fire tower, which is now gone, but the footings are there. Look quickly down, 2 blazes lie within. Now, this, I'm really glad that I found that second blaze because I could have really confused somebody. So I had to rewrite the end of my poem after I went up there in November to 2 blazes. So there's 2 geo markers, but only one is going to match the back of your coin. This is where the coin comes into play. You lay your coin. This is how I intended it, is where you lay your coin, perfectly lined it up with a 1952 goes over it. It also, I lined it up with a compass. It is directionally as well, with the compass on the back of the coin. So only one will guide you a certain degree. So when you're with your coin in the geo marker lined up, I use line of sight, and it's perfectly, you use 30 short paces, which are not an easy, because you're walking down, you're going down a hill and you got to go over some cedar bushes, but then the rocky grave of a tale once forgotten. And of course, the telltale, even though it was this way, when I was asked, is it buried? And I said it's secreted because it was kind of buried because there were leaves over it. And then of course there was the coffee can, and I wasn't going to be completely mean. I put the coin inside the coffee can with the note, so anyone that was searching for the treasure would understand it. There you go.
And there it is.
Congratulations, guys. You guys did an awesome job. I just wish it would have taken you 6 months.
Yeah, Ed, Todd, Matt, Josh. Great job. Congratulations. Copper and the gold. And congratulations, Dan. It's a good treasure hunt. I know it ended a lot earlier than you wanted it to, but it's a successful treasure hunt, and the treasure was pretty awesome. So I hope you do another one.
Right?
You are planning on doing another one, right, Dan?
Sorry, guys, my air compressor kicked on. That happened to the last time we were live, too.
Right, I remember that.
I forgot to. I'm already starting to write the second one.
Okay, cool. That's good. Well,
I was flying home. Sorry if that's still too loud. I'll go upstairs.
No,
where
no, I
Copper
was flying
Princess
home.
is gonna kick your butt. It'll be a whole year, honey.
Why?
Before we have. Didn't you tell her it's gonna be a whole year, honey, before we have to invest in another hunt? Did you say that? Did you say that? Yeah.
Well,
and did you forget to tell her about?
one,
You forgot to tell her about the coins too. She found those when you were out on your art show. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I get a phone call when I'm in Florida because I left my coins laying out because I'm getting ready to start shipping them all. And she goes, here, my compressor's off. She asked me, how much were these? And she calls me, and I'm like, well, how much would be an acceptable amount? And I had to tell her how much I spent on those. But I got her calmed down and I said, so I've sold about 75 of them. And I have about 25 more. And if people just want to, what I'm going to do with the money from, if I sell, selling the rest of them is put it towards the next hunt. So somebody wants, I know a lot of you haven't got to see it. This is what the
pretty.
It's a nice looking coin. It's a great keepsake for treasure hunting. So I'm looking forward to mine to put it on the treasure hunting bookshelf.
And I think that's mine, right? That's the number I asked for. I asked for a 1 through 10, but he sold them all. And I know I got in early, but Mike already has one. We're in the same household. So Mike's like 7. So I said, give me 77.
So I put the first 10 coins, actually the first 9, because number 1 was in the chest, but at $100, and they were gone by the next morning, and then some. I had to just call people and go, we have a problem. And I've made a pretty good 3D Bronze made me some smaller chests. So they're going to get a random coin with a small magic box.
I'd make them all 100 next time, Dan. Anything that's got a number on it. If you do 100 that are numbered, I'd make them $100 each, but that's just me. Well, you see how quickly they go. So I would bump it up. I mean, it takes time and it takes effort to create these.
I mean, if you guys went to found this, if it would even with just a couple more days, I'd have had all 100 and then some sold.
Yeah. And Copper Dan, I'll say, I am one that I don't care about the numbers as much. I'm just going to go, and a lot of us just help treasure hunters. Like Mike wanted his number. I just wanted to say, Copper Dan, I support you. And I think a lot of people are anywhere in between. So I think I agree with Mike, at least maybe somewhere in between the top 20 or whatever. I don't know.
My biggest thing on my mixed feelings is I wanted to be so happy for you guys, and I was so happy for you guys. But I had this sickness feeling because like all these people just spent $100, $25, all this money, and literally didn't even get to get started. And I got a couple of angry mails, but you know what? I said, refund. Without question, I gave them their money back. But that only happened to a couple. No one else has reached out since. So I appreciate that. But I am starting to, I put the first batch in the mail today, and my goal is between tomorrow and the next day to have all of them out. Now I am sending them normal snail mail, so it may take a week or two. I know USPS with COVID is a little slow right now, but they're coming.
Well, just save ours for the wedding. I mean, you don't need to ship ours. You can just bring ours. Well, that's what I think.
That's true. If people still want to buy a numbered coin, can they, Dan?
Mm-hmm. The website is we took it down when all this when Saturday, or when these guys called. I called Fiona. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm at an art show. Can you go and literally shut the coins down and put that it's been found, and we'll deal with this tonight. Well, then by Sunday we had the coins back up because I was able to go on there and explain that, the hunt's over, but if you want to, and I have actually sold a couple since then. So if you didn't get one and you want one, I still got them.
right, awesome.
Yep.
I
And
wanna
I'll
get
say
one
Copper
from my
Dan.
dad.
There you go.
So
What's
Because you
that?
have the story, right?
Yeah.
Todd? You have,
well, he lent me his compass, so I feel like, shout out Pete Pittman.
shout out to Pete. Hi, Pete, dad of Todd. Well, and here's the cool thing for me. I think every treasure hunt brings a story and brings a learning lesson. I know, Copper Dan, you probably learned a ton on how clever everybody can be, but I learned about a foot race. I learned about how quickly can I make it to Minnesota. I didn't know, what are they called? Scrapers or scrappers or something that you put on your feet. I didn't even know what those were, but I was researching it. And we had I got in a little tiny argument with Copper Dan, and we're past it, and we're better friends for it all over this hunt. You get stories from every hunt. It's like a battle. We went through another battle. I think, you know what, even though it was only a couple days long, I had as much fun in this one as
Well, you know what?
almost
I
every
had
other.
people, I had Genetic Blend reach out to me with a very long email because I was feeling, I was pretty down. And I tell you what, she brought my spirits up. Jana got a hold of me. Many people have reached out to say your hunt, even you four saying this was like, I did it right. I learned a lot. The next one, I will try to make better. I can tell you this, I will never again put a timeline on a hunt. I will never again say a year.
Right, right.
I will say, and the next one, I have some ideas on how I can control it to last a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to be out here in Nevada in a couple weeks, and you need to put that. I mean, just bring it on out. We can talk it through. You can have a couple drinks, couple shots. We can talk about the final spot. Yeah.
Well, you know what's cool about these is I got some extra ones. I actually got some extra. 3D Bronze made me 40 of the 3D printed ones, and I'm gonna just hide them around.
Nice.
Promote my, keep promoting my website, promoting my treasure hunts, and
I'm into that.
Nice. Yeah. No, and I think we have some things we want to talk to you about, some potential collaborations as well, but we'll talk about that offline. So we want to say thank you to the winners, the big winners of the day at the top of the peak.
Congrats, guys. Good job.
And now somebody did joke around. They're like, oh, so Dan's friends and family won. Are these all guys from Minnesota that are related to him? Let's just, for the record, you guys are not related to Copper Dan, right?
Somebody said it's a beard thing.
So before tonight, I knew Ed, and the reason I knew Ed is because about 6 weeks ago, Jana, Minnesota, got a hold of me and said, I got this guy Ed, he's putting on his own treasure hunt, and it's a copper hunt. I'm gonna get you in touch, maybe you can donate a piece of copper for him. So I took a copper coin out of the chest and I mailed it up, and he threw it into his own hunt. And other than that, I don't know any of these guys, and that's my only ties to Ed. Only talked to him a couple of times, and the fact that he's one of the four that found it, I'm like, that's kind of cool. But no, I do not know these guys.
Nice. So we have put the conspiracies behind us, guys. It was an honest hunt. Copper Dan did. I will say, I would much rather a hunt that is honest. You've given us everything straightforward. We focused on it. There wasn't any secret hints. There wasn't any bad information. A few of the other hunts are getting a little squirrely right now. Not your guys' hunts. I'm talking other hunts. I would rather this than spend my time on a hunt that the creator has told us inaccurate information and we waste our time and those sorts of things. So I think you got a good foundation. So thank you guys all for being here.
Well, Dan, you know them all now. So
Yep.
there you go. New friends.
We got to get together hopefully we can get together for a beer.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
four of you guys are invited to the World Series of Fenn if you can make it out to Vegas in 3 short weeks. So come on out. Dan will be there, right, Dan? Or is that shut down?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm coming.
All right, good.
I got a poker tournament to win. I'm going to be the one that takes K-Pro Thor out of the tournament.
Wait a minute. You have something more important. You're going to watch. Forrest Fenn brought Mike and I together, and we are saying I do in front of you.
Yes.
And when they say, does anybody object? you guys all better be quiet because we're saying I do in front of 60 searchers and some friends and family.
I'm going to stand up with that poster. What's his name? And
Leroy.
With Leroy, I'm going to stand up with Leroy and say, I object. This is madness.
Nice. All right, everybody, we're at an hour. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, and congrats, you guys.
Thank you, Copper Dan.
Thanks a lot.
Treasure hunts, feel free to come back on the show, announce it, talk about it. If you guys are doing your own treasure hunts, let us know.
Thank you, Mike and Chris, for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us on.
Go check out TC Treasure on YouTube.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Now we went a little over. We're sorry. We were excited. These guys were fun to listen to, even Copper Dan, but the other guys were much more fun to listen to. No offense, Copper Dan. So we are at the point where we will talk some, the little known Forrest Fenn treasure hunt.
Want me to bug out?
No, you can stay on or bug it. Either way, you know about that. I mean, I think the other guys, they were not as into Forrest Fenn. So we haven't talked Jack Gets Mail #2. So we were going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So if you want to stay on, you can. If you want to jump in the chat room, you can. If you want to just be done with that Forrest Fenn hunt, you can too.
You know what? I'm going to jump in the chat room and I'm going to moderate and I'm going to just put everyone in timeout.
Just the whole room. You have 114 timeouts. That would be awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's great. So thank you, Copper Dan. It was a good hunt. It was a good hunt.
Yeah, you give me some ideas for the coin. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, sorry, we're going over each other with that. Okay, so Mike needs to bring up the Medium article. We let everybody know a couple weeks ago. Jack was saying he's coming out with Forrest Gets Mail 2. I will tell you, we're not going to go line by line on. Can you make that much bigger? Because if you don't know our friend Susie Fenhaven, she is one of those unique souls that can by herself go on. She talks through a lot of this. And when she does, she's a hoot. She says critical things and it doesn't sound critical because she's Minnesota nice. So she says things that are like, that can't be true and things like that. She's so fun to watch. So I just wanted to hit a couple highlights. If you guys had particular things you wanted to talk about, I direct you to her show. She does a show every Friday night. So go and see her because she went over all of these questions. I don't know if she got through every single one or not, but there was a couple of things, and Mike's walking off right when I'm going to want him to go down and get to a particular part in this article. But there's a couple things that I found interesting. So Jack's gotten 2,400 emails. What do you think about that, Copper Dan?
What I'm just asked, like I was kind of half listening to you and I was looking at something.
Okay, 2,400 emails.
He's gotten 2,400 emails.
Yeah, 2,400 emails so far. And he says he's trying.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you I've gotten a response to every one of my emails, and I've emailed him 2,200 times. No, I'm kidding. I've emailed him a handful of times. I always get responses. And so I think it's interesting. The things that I want to note are not just the question and answers. I am thinking these are the questions he specifically collected. We have a mutual friend, Copper Dan, that is one of these questions. And I said, when did you guys go back and forth about this? And he's like, weeks ago. So weeks ago means he specifically wanted these questions. It's not the latest few. There was a reason he put these in. So I just, I like Broccoli Rocks, 2,400 emails, 0 new information. I actually agree with Holly that I think we have some new information in them. So Mike, if you'll scroll down, the first one is, and it's not here, but it says, can you go back up? So see how it says Jack 853198834. He says that's just random. It's just random. He just hit buttons. You know what? Sometimes you gotta really, Jack, really, you think, and when it anagrams to different things, I know you say it's a coincidence, but you just hit buttons. Jack 85. Jack,
That-
you rascal. What do you think?
And you know what? From the moment I saw that, I'm like, well, that must mean something. That must some kind of number. And that is such a, how do you remember it? You know, like, is it a phone number? I first like I was counting, you know, and
No, it's just, hey, Copper Dan, it's just random. Don't go into conspiracy theories. It's just a coincidence if it ranagrams to something like Jack hid cash, like, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so let's keep going down just a little bit, Mike, real slow. There was a couple, and I'm going to give shout out to Alan Kelly. I don't remember his question, but it was really good. How clean did the chest look? That's basically the question. Like, how did you do this? This confirms that though he started out, we already know the day that he went to find the treasure chest, he slept in. I mean, hey, there's a treasure chest out there. He knows where it is. He's already seen it. He just wants to take some time.
Hey, my guys didn't even sleep in. And I didn't have $1 million treasure chest.
I know. Plus
Right?
his little heart. I think he thinks we're buying this, but there's just some parts of the story that's like, Jack, you rascal. Anyway, yeah, so he slept in, he meandered about, I don't know, maybe he bought a keychain at the Yellowstone gift shop. So why was it so clean? And it was because, so if you go down a little bit, Mike, to the answer is basically because he cleaned it just with what he did put a picture in, just dirt was on it, and he took just not with any soap or cleaner, he just took it and at the hotel took a lot of the dirt off of it. That's why it was so shiny clean when it got to Forrest.
Hey, can back up.
Sure.
You said hotel.
Yeah.
So this does confirm he slept at a hotel.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and he's done that in a couple different places. Yeah.
Okay, if he slept at a hotel, somebody saw him.
He actually goes into that a little later, that some people are talking about getting his car rental records. Nobody will do that because that's illegal. Nobody is going to try to check to which hotel.
To do that. It's just that the person who runs the hotel, the somebody that works at that hotel is probably going to eventually hear about this and go, hey, I remember that guy.
Yeah, did you want to say something, Mike?
Housekeeping.
Yeah, and rental car records, I don't know if he's baiting somebody to do it. He's encouraging someone. Well, we'll get to that point in a second. You know, he talks about the bracelet being in a Ziploc bag. Okay, so let's go down. I'm actually looking at more of the answers because we're getting the long questions. This goes into the searching for the blaze. I think he can't focus more on the blaze, which is so funny because Forrest tells us not to focus on the blaze at all through the hunt. Why is everybody looking at the blaze? Look at WWWH. There is some questions. So the next one is, and guys, put at KPro if you want me to stop and talk about any of these, but I'm going to kind of go through. So the next one down, Mike, is where the ashes going to be? Is Forrest ashes there? Is there an urn there at the final location? And all he'll say is basically, that's up to the family to decide what they want out, but there's definitely not an urn at the final resting spot of the treasure chest. And that's all he's going to say. And I think that's respectful to the family. I really like that answer, even though it was vague. I think it needs to be vague because there's too many bad
all right.
people.
I'm getting picked on because I said, wait a minute, Jack slept in a hotel, and there's somebody in the chat room that's just like, my point to that was just what I said, is that he, by confirming that, he does open himself up to a possible way to back into where he stayed.
Right. Well, I think he's giving away a lot personally when he says he found it, he put it back in its location. He did not want to confirm at the beginning that there was legal documents in there. He said then eventually, I think he slipped up, and all of that later came out that he had to go and get authority or permission. What was it? Specific authority or something like that to be able to go and retrieve it. Explicit permission he had to get. For some reason, I would not be able to sleep, and I think most human beings wouldn't, just like our 4 guys that were just on. They were going to start at 6. They started at 3. And no offense, Copper Dan, this was a $1 to $10,000 treasure hunt. It wasn't $1 million treasure hunt where he spent years and 25 days. And yeah, what does Judge Judy say? When it doesn't make sense, it's probably not the case.
And again, maybe this is just, maybe Jack didn't leave it out there. Maybe this is the story that he has to tell for legal reasons.
Right.
Just a thought. I'm not saying Jack's a liar, but I'm just.
Yeah, I think there's times that things needed to be said a certain way or whatever. Just like the very first email that went to Smell the Sunshine Matt about why is the reason that he went to go get explicit permission. And he's like, well, this could be a legal hot potato later. He made it seem like there was no legal reason. And then later it came out there was legal reasons. Okay. So basically, was there any synonyms used? He basically says no. It was more, he talked about needing to know definitions of words before. It wasn't really synonym based. So this one is interesting, but why would, I don't know. Out of the 2,400 emails you've gotten, this is one of the top 10 when the answer was no. If the answer was yes, I could see it noteworthy. Why is this one such a big one? I don't know. Okay, keep going, Mike. Okay. Okay, did you need to go through a barbed wire fence or any of that? He basically says no. Again, I don't know why this one hit especially since it was a no. Why did this one hit the news wire? Don't know. Keep going. Michael. Long question. Lots. Okay. Let's okay. This goes back to the lock and the key, and it was going to rust. I don't find that hugely informational. About the key, the first two questions, like, is there something about the key that he's trying to direct us to? Again, it's not the particular questions. He talks about the iron steel of the key. Does the Denver Museum have a similar one? Would it work? He asks more about the blaze. All Jack has given up is the blaze is damaged. He thinks that it was suddenly damaged. It wasn't like it eroded over time. It sounds like it was like a forest fire or an earthquake. It wasn't something that eroded over time. And then the whole Forrest left it up to fate to decide whether that information was going to come.
There's definitely something there, K-Pro, with the, whether it was a storm, whether it was an earthquake, that could very potentially come into play into finding the spot.
I don't know if it's possible to find the spot, but we'll keep going at this point. Okay, keep going down to the answers. So basically, I think the question was around, how did you know? Because how many of us, even to this day, we have lawsuits saying, but my saw was right. I don't care if someone else has a treasure chest. I don't care if Forrest says it. How did you know it wasn't a rabbit hole? Like, how is his not a rabbit hole? And it's obvious because he has the chest. And it's kind of cryptic. I could say, for me, it didn't help me a lot when he's like, I just had a high burden of proof. And what did he intend to do? There's a lot of words. Did you guys get anything from this one?
I didn't really get anything from any of it. So it's just common sense answers to me.
Okay, so let's keep moving on. And see, this is why Susie does a much better job, because I was excited about Jack answering stuff at the beginning. Oh, Alan K's questions are always good. If TTOTC was the only piece of writing ever wrote, I would have found it very strange. Go back up. Let's see what his question was, because I just remember this one being really good. I tried to research everything I could on Forrest Fenn. If you only had TTOTC and went boots on the ground, would you be able to solve the poem and find the treasure? In other words, after the fact, was there any critical quotes in any of his other work? Okay, go down. And he said it's hard to tell. He would have found it very strange, but he had to really be like a sponge on everything Forrest Fenn, without these many comments and on simplicity and how straightforward the poem was. That helped him realize how simple it is, how simple it is, how simple it is. So I didn't think he got to what actually his question was, which is about his other writings. I think he had a lot of interviews that he kept referring to, but like there was nothing about any of his other books. I mean, he has, 9 of 10, however many other books. So again, I don't think he answered the actual question. So Mike, keep going down. And stop me, guys, if you guys want to hear any other. Okay. I didn't ask him that. Yes, no. Go up, Mike. Sorry. Number 1. It does Homa Brown being capitalized important. He says, of course, yes. Was Brown one of the names? And he said no. So basically asking about Home of Brown specifically. Why that question? Why was that question so important? Because maybe it rules out a lot of people's that Brown was a person's name. I don't know.
I have not got a chance to read these yet because I was just, did they come out over the weekend?
It came out before Friday because Susie's show was on Friday.
I was just so, I was traveling that day and I had with my hunt and everything going on that. Yeah, I just want to sit down and take a look at these.
So what's interesting here? Okay, brother. Please.
Sorry.
Can you mute?
So question number 2, did you figure out, maybe you guys just talked about this, did you figure out Homa Brown before you ever went boots on the ground to your search area? And he says yes. He figured out the Homa Brown before he ever went boots on the ground to your search area.
That's interesting.
So how do you figure that out? It's got to be in the thrill of the chase. I mean, how else would you figure it out if you don't? What else do you have to go on other than
Google
figure it out from the poem? But
Google, and I think WWWH was needed. Both the Blaze and WWWH is referenced in TTOTC. He already says Blaze was, and he says there's only a couple of clues. This is just my opinion. So I think if you know WWWH and you know the Blaze, those are referenced. I think he knew everything but the Blaze. That's why he went with such confidence. And it was because he says the Blaze was broken or damaged is the reason that it took him so long. He would have done this he solved it in 2 weeks and he had it done in a weekend. If it wasn't that there was something damaged. So,
Sean Dodson. So he says Browns Canyon in Colorado is a place he visited 40 times in 4 years. And he says he was obviously wrong. So what was the question though? Oh, can you honestly say you knew for certain that your location was the location prior to recovery?
This is similar to the other question of how do you know it's not a rabbit hole? How did you know for certain? Because I think lots, including Sean's, like 9 sentences, 9 clues. I am certain about it's just missing a little something, kind of like Jack was. And he says it's from connecting the dots and seeing the evidence. He goes into evidence a lot.
Evidence, it was the place he wanted to dine. Evidence, he saw the path there the way he described seeing it in the poem.
So to me, the poem is literal. It is warm water. It is some kind of a Homa Brown. That the way Forrest saw it as he went to it, that's a literal to me.
Man, if Forrest was still alive, I would have him write my next poem for me. You guys would never.
And there'd be some broken part of it. So I do think this confirms that there's a path. Basically said if you were Billy said if you're free of legal worries and nobody would destroy it, would you tell us where it is? He's like, I don't get off on withholding it. If I was assured all those things, which I never could be, sure. But here's the part that pissed off a lot of searchers. And most of them wanted it just to be handed to them. What do you think about that, Mike? Because it's handing it to you. if Copper Dan not putting out the solution, because he just handed it to us, like we're begging for something we shouldn't get. So a lot of people were upset at his wording on this. What do you think of it?
I don't care about the wording. I mean, if Jack wanted to come out with a release, a clue, a hint, a month or something, however he wanted to do it, I still think it should come out the solution. But in a way, it might be good that it's not, because I think a lot of people would be upset. I think a lot of people would be upset at the final location because it's not going to fit. I think the poem was literal. I think it's kind of simple once you're there and you're like, oh, he meant exactly what the poem said. I think a lot of people would be upset because they went down so many rabbit holes and we're just wrong. You know, we're off.
Well, let me put it this way. What many people are interpreting this to mean is, Mike, you have said you think it would be right or a better ending if Jack or Forrest would have put out the correct solution.
Correct.
Jack is saying, so why do you want it handed to you?
Because
that's his wording.
Because I'm not gonna work on it anymore because the treasure chest is found. I mean, he could use the term handed it to him all he wants, but it's over. The people who spent time on this deserve to know what the solution was, where the location was. I don't care what term Jack uses. I mean,
yeah, I just think
guess that's why I absolutely said before my hunt even started, is in the notes in my hunt that I will, if those 4 guys didn't want to come on and didn't want to be revealed, I would have respected that. But I was going to come on and tell you guys this is what the clues were.
Right. And that's the proper way to end a treasure hunt. I mean, I'm sorry, it just is, especially a 10-year treasure hunt where people have died. You don't just say, sorry. It's just, Forrest didn't think of everything. That's all. And that's okay. He's human like everybody else.
And here's the thing. He said he didn't think of everything, but he didn't know it until 10 years in. He didn't think of the crazies. I actually put some of the crazy situations that have evolved, not necessarily crazy people, as a part of that. So I don't know. This is interesting because I almost feel like he's baiting someone, because he has to know people have lost their lives. They're worried. Well, so basically someone said, you said you rented a car. You said you stayed at a hotel. You said you headed down to Forest. Aren't you worried your rental car records are going to get discovered? And if that happens, we're going to be able to hone in on the location. And he's like, I doubt people would be willing to lose their job and get into legal trouble to get that information.
See, I read it as him being honest when he says that. I think it's him saying, I don't think people would lose their job or get, I think he's being honest. I don't look at it as taunting anybody. But that's just me.
Well,
okay.
You'd be surprised. I would tell Jack you would be surprised. Yeah. Me personally, no. I've moved on. My treasure hunt allowed me to move on and kind of let this go.
But the people that are desperate enough, they're not moving on. And those are the people that, do they care? Like, I wonder if he's just being hopeful, he's being naive, or he's being taunting. I don't know which one. I don't think he's taunting anybody. I think he wants to move on with his life. But I wonder, why pick this one? Why pick this question to include? Now somebody might go, oh, rental car records.
It's almost like he wants us. I think Jack wants to tell us, but Jack can't tell us. That's my personal feelings is Jack wants, well, he doesn't want this to stain himself and all that. But I think maybe Forrest made a mistake on where he hid that treasure chest.
And Outcaster, to go back to the other question about him saying, do people just want me to hand out the solution? Outcaster Searcher says, I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying if most people want it, just handed it out, spoiling it. I think he's thinking of people that want to still solve it. So Jack's trying to say, well, do you want me just to hand it out, or should people solve it? But Jack, if you wanted people to solve it, you have to leave something behind so people would know if it's right or not.
You got to leave. You got to let us know that you left a marker, something at the end of the location, so we'll know.
If only there was a coin that people had. Oh, never mind. People would know. But yeah, Jack, if you don't leave something behind, then you have to hand it out because there's no way people would know, and that would drive people even crazier than they already are.
If I found it, I'd leave a copper I'd leave a Copper Dan coin on the end of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Final.
what Mike thought about the coins. He, started this whole thought. But here's the other thing. My rental car records aren't public records. Hey, people that are in litigation can get records that are not public records through subpoenas and processes. Does he know he has it? So then it will help. I don't know. I think it's almost like I do have to say anybody in litigation is supposed to stay quiet. And this one goes into legal issues. Why would he do that? And I'm thinking of every conspiracy theory of why. I don't know. Yes. And John Miller points out very astutely, Forrest talked about his rental car records. And that's what Forrest was concerned about. So Forrest is concerned about something that Jack's not, even though there's now active lawsuits and things. This one doesn't pass the smell test for me I think there's another reason for this question to be included and answered in the way that it does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the second part of the question is interesting, although I think it's kind of logical. He told me he hid it when he did because he was in Wyoming anyway for an event at the museum in Cody. So it was convenient to hide it on the same trip. I mean, we theorized that for a long time, that he was up there anyway, and that's when he hid it. And apparently that's the truth. So, and everybody was like, oh no, he remember the New Mexico people. He was back home in the same afternoon. That means it could only be in New Mexico. Wrong.
Though I didn't know he actually came out with that. That is interesting. So you could he hit it in the afternoon. Let's just say that even if it's an 8-hour window, you at so many miles per hour, and you can take a compass on a map and use Cody as the center point, and obviously Yellowstone is in play.
Well, except for if you believe it was during the event that he was at the fashion show where he was actually photographed, him and Peggy and a few others in the front row. We know that he also during that time, or believe he stayed at Paradise Rest Ranch at that same time. It could have been Yellowstone. It could have been Cody. It could have been anywhere in between. I guarantee he could have said,
"Hey, would you say it could take the Tetons out of and southern Wyoming out of the equation?"
Well, except for they drove that trip from the information that I believe I know. They drove that trip. So, and then that's how they drove back down. So if you drive back down that way, they actually hit all 4 search states in that same week and a half time frame. So a lot of us felt like that was the time frame, but he would never confirm it and all of that. So he was just concerned about things. So
if he hit it when they were traveling, Peggy would have been with, and then that
Peggy
I don't
was
think he
with him. I think Peggy was with him.
Because
not when he hid the chest, though.
Not she was with him and Cody, because he says I was home the same afternoon. She didn't even know I went and hit it. A lot of people thought that he meant their house in New Mexico. It doesn't. It means their hotel up by there in Cody or wherever they stayed.
Yes.
He was back when he hit it the same afternoon. Peggy didn't even know he went to hide it. So that means Yellowstone's in play, right? You can get to Yellowstone and come back in an afternoon from Cody, Wyoming.
But what I'm saying is you cannot get to, like, say, Jackson Hole and back in an afternoon.
But can you get to the Medicine Wheel? How far is the Medicine Wheel from Cody? You probably can't get back.
Oh, yeah.
Or so? I don't know.
From Cody to the Medicine Wheel, I think you can.
Cody to the Medicine Wheel, you can. If the day before or after the event in Cody, they stayed at Paradise Ranch, which is near Hebden, which is right near Yellowstone entrance, he could have easily, let's say, they went to Cody for a day or two, shot over to Paradise Rest Ranch, and he said, hey, you got all your food, everything you need, a couple of ranch hands. I'm taking off to go fishing for the day. He went fishing. He put it in its spot near DeLacy Creek and headed back. That's a 4-hour turnaround.
And look, points out BLM land east of Yellowstone would be nice. Mummy Cave. # Mummy Cave. I know that was a popular.
I've heard a lot about Mummy Cave lately.
Marie, that's interesting. She says Homer Brown was one of Forrest's slip-ups in a video. I'd love to hear more. If you want to give us the video or want us to look at it or wants to, whatever, just tell us more. Okay. Next question. Okay, now we're getting into GPS. Had a blaze not been damaged, do you believe you would have found the spot? in 2018? Did you really need to know the blaze you were looking for to identify it? Okay. He says, that's tough to say because I wasn't tracking it myself with GPS in 2018. I didn't start doing that until later. GPS is important. But probably not. If I'd gone in that area, I probably would have needed some luck to notice if it was even damaged because I didn't know what I was looking for. I do have to say, okay, I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if it's breaking news or not. Our source said he's the one that damaged the blaze in 2018 or 2018 when he went there. Maybe not. I don't know.
He didn't say he damaged the blaze.
He said he moved the canopy.
Oh, I got you. I didn't look at that blaze. Yeah, I got you. Possibly. Yeah, okay. Got it.
What do you we'll move the canopy?
There was yeah. We showed the pictures, right? We showed the pictures, and
I have not been following everything for the last few days, guys.
So the GP here, we'll tell the story real quick. Hashtag GPS. So the area that K-Pro and Justin and Cynthia found, based off the GPS numbers that are in order in the poem, pictures from that spot from the pictures from a year ago or whatever from the source had a canopy of branches that were thatched together over the actual area. And when at least when K-Pro said when they were there, there's nothing like that anywhere else. If you were in that area, that would stand out. So the theory is maybe that was the blaze. Maybe not the two notches in the trees. Maybe this thatch of branches together. Because when you flipped it over, according to the source, when you flipped it over, it all came together like that. It's not like it fell apart. So it looked man-made, and it looked like somebody had put it over the chest.
It was almost like a beaver's dam. We saw the pre-pictures, which we thought the pre-pictures was from the finder. It was actually from the source. There was this huge, between these two trees, there was this huge mountain of trees, debris, etc. It was, if we were to believe the source, which once you lie once, twice, 6 times, we don't. But he said that eventually when we figured out this was him that discovered it, not the finder. He said he moved it over all in one big turn, and we did find the debris set in a smaller way, but he said the canopy of stars was actually this canopy of debris. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Yeah. You want to go there? I have so many more things. Hey, source, come on to World Series of Fenn. We'll talk it out, mister.
Great. Now they know it's a guy. God damn it. All right, let's keep
Cynthia said his name.
No. I don't know what you mean. Name. Let's move on, Copper Dan.
I don't want to talk about the source anymore. I want to talk about.
Yeah, he's got his 15 minutes on our backs. Yeah, Red the Coattails, baby doll. You've done it twice now. Twice. I was a sucker. Okay.
Breaking news, everybody. Everything's in Wyoming, including all 9 clues. Jack says, nope, everything's in Wyoming. So people who are looking for where Walmarters halt outside of the search area, it's in Wyoming. There you go. I don't know if this is the first time it's been said, but Jack just confirmed it.
Whatever. Okay, yeah, that's breaking news. When you guys are looking for some really, really good breaking news, Broccoli said he's saying nothing 24. Yeah, that one's like, oh, okay. Actually, some people that were over different borders and things, that could be. Okay.
So he's got a song.
Some song.
Play, but yeah, it gave him chills when he heard its opening line. All right, I'll mute it and play it. I'll see what the lyrics are. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, keep going. Blah. Yeah, we're all watching you, Mike. No, just go to the next.
You can't. Don't play it. I don't want you to give me one.
Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. If someone. Okay. I don't know the question on this one. I know I needed the go above.
The fake blaze.
Yeah, and the source did that. So let's see. If someone made a fake blaze and you publicly mentioned it was 1,000 feet from the real blaze, didn't you tell the person just was, do you feel the fake blaze was not a searcher? Okay. I felt it was vague enough for everyone who felt it was fake blaze out there, and they'll feel bad about it. So he wanted to out publicly that there was a fake blaze because he wanted the Forrest Fenn searcher to feel bad. Okay. I've had some of those people email me. Maybe our source is one of them that said, yeah, I'm the one. We saw a picture of the ridiculous thing that he came up with. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I gotta tell you, this gets stranger and stranger every day.
Some people say, how can a documentary get made? And now I think we're up to 10 get made when all this is over. It's like nothing's over. Look at how, I mean, yes, for searchers, the treasure chest has been found, but there's litigation. There's these crazy answers. There's people that are still getting arrested for being out and digging up graves. There's so much going on. There's people saying they're friends of his and, all of that. Dictionary definitions he goes into, I would say he uses the semicolon correctly. There's a connection of the ideas in the stanza. He said punctuation didn't matter. So it's kind of a weird answer, but it's so vague. I don't even know what that means. So let's get Ben Wise being past tense isn't important. He said to me, the past tense was drawing. He thinks that is important because now you've done everything. I think a lot of people, Mike's one of them. He believed WWWH was the first clue and the blaze down was 8 and 9. That was so obvious to Mike. There was a lot of 9 sentences and I know people that have had that information for years. They had it in Forrest words and they didn't think it was a big deal. I think it's a huge deal to searchers personally, but that's just me. Yeah, if he wanted to move on, he wouldn't be talking and saying so little. That's true. I think he's maybe wanting to be kind of like Forrest and if I found the Forrest Fenn treasure, I'd want to get my little bit. I get it, but I'll give my thoughts at the end. I don't know if these are doing him more help than harm for the average searcher. The crazy searchers are always going to be the crazy searchers. He's bad. He's this, he's that. A lot of the searchers that are in between, like appreciative that he's answered in this, I think we're kind of getting over it. I think. Let's see. He talks about him and Forrest and how alike they were. 1930s to 1990s. I think we're down to the last few. He talks about the interviews here. He said 2 little slip-ups. He remembered one, but not the other. The second one was very subtle. He seemed satisfied overall with him keeping the secret after all of that media time. Okay, that doesn't help us. For a guy that says, do you really want it handed to you? He's not helping us. So long questions. Forrest would have never been okay with all of this. He wouldn't have answered these. Maybe in 10 years, Jack won't either. Keep going down, Mike.
Got a super chat from 3D Bronze. Jack, why are you milking this thing out? Tell us where. 3D Bronze / telluswhere.com. It's 3dbronze.com / telluswhere. Okay. Sorry. We're going to do a Zoom after this on the 3D Bronze treasure hunt and on Mr. Clues. We're going to combine them together. Only those 2 things.
So this is where Forrest supposedly did not know that the blaze had been damaged and everything was still recognizable. But the only thing that could have been damaged was the blaze, which if you're still trying to figure this out, maybe it could be informational. The one thing that I will say is, Mike, do you remember in the November last interview of Forrest Fenn? Do you remember when I said, when do you think it'll be found? And he said, are you supposing that I can anticipate earthquakes and mudslides and That's now really hitting me. That might be important. He might have known, but he didn't want to say he knew.
knew that it was already damaged or that it could be damaged?
No, that it was already damaged.
Well, Jack says no. Jack says he was somewhat surprised when I told him it had happened. So if Forrest was truthful when he says he had never been back, I don't think there's any way he could have known if it was damaged.
Oh, you mean Jack sees Forrest act surprised in front of him? Okay. Jack might not realize Forrest could.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And he says all the other clues are recognizable out there at this point, the same as when he hit it, but none of them were as susceptible to damage as the blaze was. So that means the blaze is not rock. I mean, what the heck was the blaze if it's susceptible to damage? It's a cut on a tree, I got to say. It makes the most sense to me.
That was, yeah, juniper bush.
Oh, our old friend, the juniper bush. Yeah, we know somebody that with.
Yeah, we know somebody. That was.
Yeah.
I never like using a tree or a shrub or something that could die as your blaze, but that's just me. You're both muted.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. He basically says this was exactly what he wanted to say, how he was wanting to say it. It was the story. Don't read too much into the 15-year comment. It's probably something that was in the back of his mind. Basically, a lot of people wondered if 15 years sent something. He's basically, in my opinion, saying no here. Don't think he spent hours on it each day. It doesn't even rhyme completely. I almost think he puts that in for a reason. When I read this, I was like, why would he say that?
Well, we know the spot where it doesn't rhyme, and that was always a big old question mark. Forrest did a wonderful job of making that poem rhyme and flow, except for one spot.
Right. And he points it out out of 2,400 emails. This is the one that he basically says, I almost think that each one of these, maybe one red herring, but each one of these have a message that we're supposed to be picking up on. And I think this one is a nothing burger, except for it doesn't even rhyme completely. It's so random that he put it in there. That's my opinion. I might be wrong.
Jack is clever like that. Did you pick up on that, K-Pro?
I'm not, no comment. Okay, go down. Kind of. Okay, I have it. Okay, so basically, this is an interesting one. So go back up real quick, Mike. I'm sorry, because I think this one is another one. Like really, one class. How big was the location and area that you were looking for the treasure? I mean, football field, bigger or smaller? He didn't measure it. I mean, like, he can't even think about it. Like, oh, that's like, I didn't measure it. It may have been bigger than a football field, but keep in mind that the total limits of what I thought was possible, I considered it to be probable, was certainly smaller than a football field. And it was found within those probable bounds. So basically said, I take it, there might have been a huge field like DeLacy. He had it down to maybe one football size, smaller than a football size area, which is what we were searching in. But that whole particular DeLacy Creek area was bigger than that. As an example only. Source. Okay, keep going. Oh, this one's interesting.
If he answers it, let's see.
Yeah, is there a physical canyon, and do you have to physically go into the canyon? Yes. He didn't say whether it was named or not. He won't answer that question, but you do have, it's a canyon and you have to go into it. He will not, and Forrest would not answer whether it was named. Why?
Again, everybody, it's clear to me that the clues in the poem were literal. Yes, it was a canyon. That's why it says canyon down. I mean, I think that's what Jack's hinting at, that these refers to things in the physical world. There was no metaphysical, figurative. These are literal things. This is the way you found it.
Yeah, but named on a map and actual physical canyon, I think, are two different things. I don't know. Just my thought.
Things, yeah, but it's a physical canyon. Yeah. And
I think it's a physical canyon, and I take it that it's named now.
Right. If it is a physical canyon, I think most of those are named on a map, maybe. Yeah, we have to look at the area to see. How many canyons are in Yellowstone?
Yeah, because Ron points out DeLacy Creek don't have a canyon. He's exactly right. I don't know.
Hey, this guy says it was Yellowstone for me from day one. In my opinion, the most important chapter is Flywater, hands down. And that leads to my question. Forrest stated that the spot was not in very close proximity to a human trail. Did you indeed walk a human trail for a portion of your solve or not? Thanks, Donna. I think that may narrow down things too much if I say yes or no, but I can't say the whole time I was searching for the blaze and treasure in the forest, I did not step foot on a human trail. He is right. There are no man-made trails in the vicinity, but there are some game trails.
But think about that for DeLacy. I never stepped foot. I guess there was a part of it I did, but I could have stayed off the human trail. Anyway, yeah. Okay. It's kind of interesting. Thanks again, everybody. Everybody's so kind to me. I just love getting emails. Please send me more. That's how I took the end.
And there it is, everybody. Jack gets emails again. So.
Well, let me ask both of you guys. Why do you think he's answering emails? Does he genuinely want searchers to have closure? Is he doing it to send out particular messages for legal reasons? Is he trying to get people closer? What do you think his reason is?
I think by this point, he knows the only thing that's going to give closure are the clues in the spot. So I think he's trying to give us enough to do it ourselves because he can't.
I don't know about that. I do think he is trying to help people find some closure. He just can't say where it is. Like Dan said, he can't come out and say it. But otherwise, if he didn't care, why would he answer any emails at all? He could just say, yeah, you know who I am, but leave me alone. So,
it's hard to say. I'm going to believe some of what Jack says and not all of what Jack says. And I find myself in that situation where I'm like, there's certain things that I don't know if I believe him on, but yet I do believe, he's the finder. And so I just need to go back and just create another puzzle and keep my mind busy from all this mess.
Yeah, but
Thanks a lot.
Here's the thing for me. So what do I do on Mondays? Margarita Mondays with Cynthia. So I spent the day with Cynthia and we talk. The Forrest Fenn hunt does come up from time to time. And that's most of what we talk about. And it's interesting because I guess he's 35, 36. I didn't know. He's somewhere in his 30s. He has at least 50 more years of life, barring accidents or sicknesses. But on the average,
I know where you're going with this.
We already know more than two have this secret and know this secret. Do we really think in 50 years this is not going to come out in some scandalous way or non-scandal? Just do we think it's going to come out in the next 50 years where the Forrest Fenn treasure was found?
I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. I mean, people change. From when I was 20 to now, in 25 years. Yeah.
Not even change. What if he tells a girlfriend that becomes his wife that then they're divorced, or he has a child and the child tells, or he decides to finally sell it, or he gets a benefactor that says, I'll protect it, or he tells his brother that tells someone. He gets drunk one night and tells a bartender. I mean, some people get drunk sometimes. There is so many possibilities. I just think in 50 years, I mean, there's a difference between Forrest taking it to his grave when he was 90 and Jack is 36.
But so I have a comment to make, and I've been waiting to make this comment. I come into Zoom last Thursday night, and I watched 20 brilliant minds dismantle my poem. Why in the world couldn't you guys do that to Forrest's poem?
So I'll go back to what I said, that once somebody had the anagram, they knew the general area. The Mitch Guigi or whatever his last name was, I think Lake Superior, there was no other place to look. With the Forrest Fenn poem, people made it fit in all 4 states. It was so ambiguous. There was no way to say, oh, I know it's in Wyoming, because then you have the person saying, no, I know it's in New Mexico. So everybody was split. If everybody, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, if everybody knew even the state, if from the beginning they knew it was Yellowstone National Park, I think a Zoom or a group think could have figured it out or knew it was in Wyoming or
Well,
whatever.
we do now, but my point, Mike, is we do now. So,
I
has
can't
that ever been,
figure it out now.
has it ever been attempted? Has there ever been a Zoom chat with?
Oh, actually, that's a good point. No, we have not done a Zoom on solving Forrest Fenn's poem now that we know it was in Yellowstone. No.
Because there's no way to confirm it now. We're not looking for a treasure there.
I kind of disagree with you, K-Pro, because Jack found that area to begin with, and he stayed in that area. He was 100% confident of it.
Right, but we have hundreds of searchers 100% confident till this day, even filing lawsuits that there's, well, that's one reason. The second reason is, I think you did exactly what we did on our last hunt, not even our first hunt. There was a fatal flaw in yours. There was one that was such a confirmer that it made it really not be anywhere else. There was no way it was a coincidence. Mike and I's, for the 3 words, we used the other words, and it made it so obvious that there was no way any rabbit holes could be gone down. I think Forrest never had that piece to it. And I think that's what took him so long.
It would be an interesting thought process to try and do a Zoom of dedicated people to try and figure out the poem and where it was, now that we know it was in Wyoming. Now that we know the clues were literal, in my opinion, that would be an interesting thing, Dan. Yeah.
You have 2 huge clues. A, it's in Wyoming. And B, that he probably based himself on Cody and hit it in the afternoon.
Yep.
And so so now you just narrowed Wyoming down, and you took certain parts of the search area, even in Wyoming.
Well, but I think there's a couple of other things, because Outcast and Holy both said it, but people are so anchored in their solution that they can't get their confirmation bias out. And here's the other thing. Forrest put so much out there. He made a huge spaghetti bowl of issues and of things that even contradicted themselves. And he said it was a riddle, and then he said it wasn't a riddle. He said, privately, he said, dip your toe in it. That one was recorded, so that one came out. But the Homa Brown not being brown trout, that wasn't recorded, but I believe the person. But is it that is where, yeah. And actually Lucky Digger is coming forward to say something exactly about that. And Queen Anne, Bear and Fendi are going through the book right now and doing exactly that. That's actually a great point. I don't see some of the people that really pick this apart. I think of the Bess and the Nicks and the Bobbies and a few of the others. They pick stuff apart so quick. I don't see them in there, but you're exactly right. And
this kind of puzzle is different, though. Those are cipher, in my opinion. Beth and Nick are cipher type people. Forrest Fenn's poem is so ambiguous. It's a totally different kind of thing, just in my opinion. So we know Warm Water's Halt was physical warm water. How many of those are in Wyoming? Probably a lot, in my opinion. Probably
you did narrow the area. You can narrow the area down, then you can find out the warm waters that are in that area, and it might be possible to back your way into this.
Maybe it could be. It would be an interesting thing. I wonder who would be interested in doing something like that.
It's interesting too.
And I'm not saying you should do this, but if anyone ever came forward from a car rental place or a hotel, whether their job was on the line or not, but if they put it out there, once it's out there and out there, that said Jack stayed here. Now you really narrow down the area.
Well, and let's add to that.
Theoretically.
Rooster says the poem has been solved by others. They're just keeping it private because of all the negative. That's, in my opinion, that's exactly, I know there are groups of searchers that are getting together on Zoom. I've never been in it. I haven't been invited to it, but they are trying to solve this in a hardcore, we are going to find this way. If they find it, I don't think they'll ever come open with it. I don't think I'll ever know. I think anybody who comes forward, we can see in this community how nasty and negative people are. So why ask? If, let's say you found out tomorrow, let's just say someone, the lawyers contact you and said, Forrest and his Will Copperdan really applauded you that one night that you were going through aberrations. You found the clues. We want you to know the final location. The final location is, here's the GPS coordinate. There you go. Would you come out with that? And we want you to keep it, whether they wanted to keep it private or not. Would you? Wouldn't you? And think of the hate and crazy and some of the people that we already know in the community.
I hear you. No, that's a solid point. If a group of people figure it out, though, it's doomed, because two can keep a secret, not 10 or not 8.
I think there's
Because what happens is all of a sudden Copper Dan tells Copper Princess tells someone that when they were just, hey, my husband knew where, well, yeah, she goes, I didn't even know about that. And then next thing you know, it gets to somebody that matters. So I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. And I think we're gonna, why Gallatin Ghost? Why did Jack start using a GPS? And even more so, why does he continue to state that again and again and again? Why did Forrest in the beginning never say, take a GPS? And by the end said, you need a GPS. Like he said, it's one of the things you need. I don't know. I'm still, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on some of the things. I wish some things just cleanly went down. Nothing's clean. So much drama, so many personalities, so many people. Whenever you get big money like this, I mean, they think it's going to save their life. And, oh, so you still have relationship problems. You still can't pay your bills. You still have it. I mean, even if you did, some people are just, I don't know. There's enough of that. We've been on for 2 hours. I think we need to go.
Yeah, we got to chat when we get off about the coin.
And there it is, everybody.
Hold on.
Forrest Fenn treasure found, Copper Dan treasure found. I will say this, Dan, it was a good treasure hunt. The concept was solid. It was just a little bit too easy, and people just are crazy and are going to do it in the snow.
Well, I understand the fly. The fly I made was using King Michiguig as an anagram. Two things with that. I didn't think anyone could, because Gitchigumi is 2 words combined into one. It's such a random, odd, it's just such a weird word that I didn't think anyone would get it. And if anyone did, I didn't anticipate on them sharing it with the whole community.
Well, to be clear, the 4 people that found it were not in any of our Zooms that we did. But that night we had like 36 people in a Zoom. And in the first 5 minutes, it was Kickstar Comics, I think, that said, yeah, that's Gitchigumi from that song. And I never would have figured it out. I just don't know Gitchigumi. I don't know. I know the song, but I don't even know that word was in the song. So,
I watched you in Zoom and you were over in Copper Harbor, and I'm like, yeah, listen to Mike. Because that's on the wrong side of the.
But I didn't ask this question, and I'm going to ask Ed offline because I didn't want to make any controversy. But when Ed messaged me on Friday morning and said, you want to team up? I said, oh, so you figured out the king's name too? And he goes, what the heck are you talking about? And I said, where's your solve before I say if you don't know what I'm talking about? And he told me the location, which he was at that Bluefin area. And I said, okay, then anagram, you're definitely in the right spot because of Gitchigumi. And he's like, I don't know what you mean. And I gave him the king's name. He said, give me the king's name. He's like, oh my gosh, that means for sure. They were still just doing the generic pointing. They hadn't done the king's anagram. They were only focusing on the poem. Now I know the other 2 guys had that. So that's where I was like, okay.
The design was supposed to be the great king points away, but you had to know who the great king was, and you would get that, and you had two possibilities. But
yeah, there was enough people. I think locals had it one way. I had it, and Mike had it a different way. I think the Zoomers had it different way. I think we all had it different way. So
it was a great learning experience for me. I'm completely okay with it now. I wasn't in a good way for a while. And this happened when I was at an art show with a booth full of customers, and I had to put it out of the back of my mind, finish with my customers, and then quick get onto my social media and let everybody know, stop buying coins and it's found. And I'll be back later tonight when I'm done with my show.
William with the big $50 super chat once again. Thank you, William. Thank you, William. We do appreciate it. And for that super chat, I'll play this.
He says, wrecked him, damn near killed him.
All right. Thank you very much for that super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who super chats over the last couple. Do you like that one, Dan? And Dan, let's be clear. You're not copper divorced, are you?
No. Because once
not yet. He hasn't been served yet.
I explained to my wife how much I paid for the coins, how much I sold them for, and that I would take and pay myself back. And then the rest of it, they didn't bring it up, but there is more money that is going to each searcher. I was going to buy them
gotcha.
I was going to buy them buy a double Eagle Gold coin, but they said, Dan, that's kind of hard to split up. Can we just take the cash? And I said, yeah.
Well, here was Dan, do 2 weeks have to go by before you add to it. You know what I mean? Just in case it is found in the first 30 days, I would say you have to let 30 days go by before anything's added to it. And then people who figure it out are like, do we just go get it or do we wait 30 days? I don't know. It's just, and
well, in this case, I promised it to them, and it's, but it's a learning experience. I'm going to take what I learned from this and I'm going to design the second hunt. I'm going to change and tweak a few things. I tried to make this the perfect hunt for everyone. Even with that, I found there was some flaws, but I can fix them. And maybe the next one.
So there's 2 people that I put in a category right now. Copper Dan, yours is one, actually 3D Bronze, and Randy. When you have a hunt that you have put all the information out accurately, you haven't upset a lot of people with inaccurate information, secret hints, secret emails, all of those kind of things. I will say, I don't care if it was found fast, that the thing that you need to correct is being a little bit more cryptic with your poem. You don't need to correct being honest, being forthright, being a good person. The people that are putting on hunts that maybe are getting a little bit off in being cryptic, saying stuff that isn't accurate, insulting searchers, doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so somebody snapped at you. You could have said, hey, jerk. You didn't. You said, I'll just give you a refund. That's called good people. The people that are the originators that are being snappy and insulting, you can't fix that. So the thing that you need to fix, you can fix. The thing that they need to fix, they should just go away.
And let me say this. We've always said support people who do treasure hunts. Buy Dan's coin, because here's the deal. If you have kids or you have grandkids, what a better thing than to show them the poem, give them the coin, and go on your own little treasure hunt. Go to that geocache. I'm assuming they left that geocache there, the can thing.
So yes.
Go put something in it. Take your kids up to the treasure hunt.
If I may speak to this, for those that bought the coin, or you can get the picture off of the pictures, the back of the coin is out there everywhere. Now, in fact, you know where to go. I would say if you can do it, plan a trip, go there, go find that geocache and take something, leave something. Yeah. Let's make that geocache alive again.
Add something to it. It'd be a treasure hunt for all of us to go make the trip, especially if you're within driving distance of it. What, K-Pro?
K-Pro is shaking her head no.
Okay, so I'm going to be really honest here. Our search partners do not want to be outed because they struggled on that trail. I'm going to say, as our German devil knows, maybe somebody that is a flatlander and has a few pounds on them, I don't think it's safe right now for the average person. I think for the Copper Dans, for the Todds, for the Eds, yes, I would encourage everyone not to do that right now.
In the summer.
Yes, go a little later.
Yeah. In the spring, in the summer. Go hunt something, take your kids and do a treasure hunt. That would be awesome.
I'm kind of sad that they had to go now, because this is the least pretty time of the year up there. If you go up there in the summer or the fall especially in Minnesota, you go up there in September when the leaves are turned,
And it looked awesome at that time. I literally got a text message that said, we don't feel safe because there was ice on the wooden slats. And they're like, we're trying to go around it. And then when I saw their video tonight, and we partnered up with Minnesotans. I'll just say in general, I'm glad I didn't go. Mike was like, it's too cold. You don't know ice. I'm glad I
know. When I
didn't.
heard,
Now, could I have just turned an ankle? I don't think anybody would have died, but even the little bit of risk, just I wouldn't do it right now. But do I think it is an awesome place? Somebody said, actually, we need to do our next searcher meetup up there this spring or summer. I think that would be awesome. Right now, though, for the average, like I was going to take D-Pro with me. An 11-year-old on that trail, that would have been tough. And I know you wanted a family to find it. So spring,
not in the
summer.
winter. I had,
Yes.
yeah,
I
I was
agree with
never
that.
thinking, but also, you have to use, and I think I wrote in my rules, you have to use judgment. I brought both of my daughters up when they were like 8 years old. And they were nothing special, they were just young kids. And my wife and I carefully, we navigated the rocks. There's a lot of rocks to navigate up, and it gets steep, and it's a lot of work.
But if it's under snow, and
over.
even if we know as originators and searchers on what we saw in Forrest Fenn hunt, even though we say use common sense, I would just say start your next one in spring. That's all I ask. Or summer. Don't do it in winter.
I was excited to get this going. I was hoping I wish I could have got it going in the springtime rather than, because they did solve it, but they didn't solve it exactly how I designed it. And
no, it was fun. Mike, why don't we go out tonight with the most controversial topic in the community right now?
Oh, our wedding registry? All right. Well, first, Stan, bring the coins you haven't sold. Bring them to World Series of Fenn. I think people will buy them. And don't discount.
You got it. I'll bring them all.
Yeah, bring them in. We'll see what we can sell there. Because when I think people see them in person, I think they're going to be like, wow, this is really cool. Yeah, show it.
I mean,
yeah, look at that. That's awesome. And Randy gave you a shout out. Valentine Goose. Randy made a video and said it was brilliant what you did with the coin. He said he may steal the idea.
But did you see he deleted that? So I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't see that. And I also give Dan credit because me and K-Pro have had the idea to have a coin as a clue in a treasure hunt for a year, but Dan made it happen. Dan actually followed through and got it done. You know what I mean? That's not a secret.
No, but we're gonna talk to him.
Oh, right.
There could be a partnership. We have some designs already in place.
Yeah, I get it. All I'm saying is I give Dan credit because he actually followed through and did it. A lot of people can talk about a lot of stuff. Dan actually made it happen. So congrats, Dan. Okay, the wedding registry. Dan, have you seen our wedding registry by any chance? On Amazon?
You put it out and I was gone this weekend. I got up at 4:00 this morning, flew home from Florida, had some stuff to do, and next it was live. I haven't seen your wedding, but I was thinking of getting you a blender.
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, let me just say this. So we were never going to do a wedding registry, but people are reaching out to K-Pro like, you have to. You're doing an event. People are going to be there. What do we get you? We want to know what you want. So we go on Amazon and we set it up Sunday. We never thought about it until Sunday. If anybody, I'm not going to put the link to the registry in all our videos. We made a video last night, Sunday, called World Series of Fenn Details, Wedding Details. Go look at it if you want. And thank you to everybody who has purchased things off that registry. But we started adding things and we were like, well, what do we need? If we buy a house, what do we need? And then it kind of went down a rabbit hole of, I'm like, well, hey, I like comic books. Can I put that on there? Like, I've never done a registry before. So some people are like, you're not supposed to put things for you, because I think if they buy it for me, then they're like, well, then I haven't got anything for K-Pro. K-Pro, is that what it is? You tell me. Like, I put some silver coins. I put baseball cards, comic books. Maybe people think that's for the kids, but it's not. That's for me. Go ahead.
Okay, wait. We went through some things and we maybe touched the line because we have animals. We got like a cat thing and we got a guinea pig thing and all of that. Then I started getting emails of how many different sets of baseball cards and coins can you have on your registry? And I went,
hundreds.
That's not my registry. I went over my registry with Mike. We did it together. What are you talking about? And I actually went on Amazon and I searched my registry. There was magically over 10 items that were added that were related to coins.
10? Yeah, it might have been.
There's actually 14 that I did not know about. And so it has become a little interesting because I actually got a little huffy puffy last night. I'm like, that's our registry. And then I went, I can't get mad. If this is the worst thing I have, that Mike is going to get a few comic books out of this whole thing. Ridiculous. Don't buy the comic books. Don't buy the
baseball cards and the comic books. I will get K-Pro involved in the baseball cards.
So if I may defend Mike here, I got married almost 25 years ago. So back when I got married, the little laser scanners were brand new. And Francis and I went to Target to do our registry, and they gave me one of those laser guns.
Oh, and you
I'm shooting. I'm walking around.
Everything. It's like, what
Francis,
do you want?
He took it away from me. He said, "You are no longer allowed with the laser scanner."
So if I broke protocol because a wedding gift is supposed to be for both of us, like the gift is supposed to be for both of us, then I apologize. Because yeah, you're right. Baseball cards and comic books are for me. They're not for K-Pro. But K-Pro has a couple things that are just for her, like the whole bath and beauty set. I'm not going to use that. That's not for me. That's a K-Pro gift. The way I look at it.
Maybe you should, Mike. Maybe you should.
Well, it's like a gift basket with all the bathroom scrub, or I don't know what it is. So I thought, well, there's some gifts are together, like a patio set is for all of us to enjoy. Some things are for K-Pro, some things are for me, and some things are for both. But yeah, it's there. And then I said, what's the big deal? People just don't have to buy it. If everybody thinks baseball cards are horrible, well, don't buy it. Nobody will buy it. I'm not going to be, upset if nobody buys it. You should buy it because I'm Cowlazars, but you know what I'm saying. Go ahead, K-Pro. I know you want to.
Okay, level 1 was, yes, we got a little, we're doing so many things non-traditional. My goodness. Yes, I'm wearing white, you suckers that keep saying that. I am wearing white. We're doing what we want. We're doing what we want. But to add many items, we're talking 20% of the registry I didn't even know about. I'm just saying, when I got questioned today, Cynthia said, I want to know, are those all gag gifts? And you're like donating to the SPCA, all the cat stuff and this and that. And I'm like, okay, let me tell you the story. I just didn't know. I started getting questioned and they're like, what about the coins? We didn't put any coins in there. What are you talking about? And you know what though? In the scheme of life, and this is what I did on my Facebook last night. Do I seriously want to get upset on a serious level with Mike about a registry? No. Buy it if you want, but everybody come, everybody have fun. But I do have to say, that is the registry that will be known around the world. Cynthia's like guinea pigs and waxing thing and boogie boards and wetsuits.
Because if you don't buy it, then we have to buy it. That's what a registry is about, right? To get us things that we kind of were going to buy anyway. I want to buy those baseball cards. I want to buy those comic books. Anyway, I may have put the link in the chat, so I'll get those baseball cards tonight. Prove K-Pro wrong. All right,
I'm going to return them. I'm going to return. No, I'm
no. So what we decided, everybody, is anybody who brings us anything, whether it's at the event this weekend or through the registry, we're going to do an unboxing video when we get back home after the weekend. So we will maybe go live or maybe we'll record a video, but you will see all the funny things that people got us. Gag gifts are great. You can get us a gag gift for our wedding. That's fine too.
Oh, I already know
like
somebody
after the wedding topper I sent you.
That's not a gag gift. That's awesome.
That's not a gag gift. I know somebody that after he made the comment, Mike, last night about some adult things. If you put in massager, some adult things come up. We're getting some adult things. And then somebody said they're called crampons. Crampons. We might be getting those for my feet. You never know because
yes, I'm going to buy. I was just thinking I'm going to buy K-Pro and Mike a pair of crampons so they can come to the North Shore Lake Superior in the winter and go climb Carlton Peak.
This was from Copper Dan. He actually sent it with a cipher, and I didn't know who sent it, and I didn't crack it. He actually got me, and that's pretty awesome. So look, me and K-Pro. There it is. Okay.
And there's a dog. There's a dog that came with it.
Oh yeah,
there's a dog that.
Yeah.
And the dog. I told you to name the dog Thor. I don't know if you did.
Oh, Outcast Searcher says we need to add more treasure hunting equipment to the registry. We can add things, right? I could go in there and add things.
No, it's actually against the law and it makes the whole thing disappear. It makes the whole thing go away. This is what I mean by there's going to be shenanigans. I already know at the event. All I ask is everybody to come in fun. I already know some things that are happening. Be good, guys. We do have kids around, but it'll be a blast. But am I upset? So couple of you that are in chat knows when you notified me, I was like, you've got to be kidding. And then I just went, guys, we got to laugh. Mike thinks it's nothing wrong with it. If he gets too many, think about this. Think about all the
registry was like a wish list. That's all. Like, oh yeah, you want to buy me something here?
No,
puzzle box, crypto
Mike,
weevil, that kind of stuff.
But Mike, it's a wedding registry, which means you and me, like you and I together.
I get it. That some things
I'm
are you, some things
I'm gonna find
most of them are together. Both of us. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm gonna find a yellow banana speedo for Mike.
Oh, geez.
Because that is kind of a his and her gift. I mean, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
I was surprised with the adult things that are on Amazon. I was surprised. I thought you had to go to a 24-hour place on the strip for those things, but no, they're on Amazon. You can actually order them. If anybody wants to sell anything, the UPS store is down below. Okie Chest Chaser says, tell Copper Dan I'm looking forward to my coin 99. Is that who's getting 99? Okie Chest Chaser.
Yes.
Yeah, that was off of our show.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. I remember. Yeah, Okie, I remember. Okay.
So I gave the one away there. I gave coin 100 away on Candy's channel. I'm probably going to do probably another coin on my Facebook or YouTube. I'm probably going to do it on my YouTube channel is what I'm going to do. Try to see if I can get myself a couple of more subscribers. I'm getting close to 250.
I can't believe there's only 250. It's Copper Dan on YouTube, everybody. He's going to do another treasure hunt. You saw the items that were in this treasure box. Subscribe to his channel, would you?
You know what? Take your kids on there. Pull up the animation, the full animation of the fairy tale, and get your kids together.
What a
it's a good kid story.
For kids with the coin. It's like the Goonies where they use the coin on the rocks, right? It's that type of thing. Go ahead.
Wait a second. There is a waxing kitten. Mike just doesn't know it's for him.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Nobody's touching my man way to heaven. All right, everybody. We're having some fun. World Series of Fenn's like only 2 weeks away. 1, 2.
And today was the worst day ever. And thank you, Copper Dan, for tonight, because today was the worst day ever. But I ended it with margaritas with Cynthia and then great treasure talk and with friends like you guys. But today pretty much sucks. So the days are going to get better. Well, X stuff, not you guys. Not Mike. Mike and I, it's like, I can't run to that ultra fast enough. You are my baby. Okay. So 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. It's going to be here.
Kickstar Comics says, I want coin number 11. You got to talk to Copper Dan on that one. Everybody go to Dan's website, order a coin, or just show support. Man, way to heaven. You heard me, Hooli. You heard me.
Sorry, Kickstar. Coin 11 went to somebody that helped design the coins. And that was a promise I made her a long time ago.
Outcast Searcher says, tell Copper Dan I definitely plan on going up to Carlton Peak with the family. So that's awesome in the summer.
So Outcast Searcher sent me a solve on, let's see, I had just gotten to Florida. I was picking my trailer up and Outcast, so bling, I'm talking to Nelica on the phone. And I'm saying people are getting close, but they haven't figured it all out. All of a sudden, bling, an email, and I'm on the phone with Nelica, and I open the email up, and I go, crap. It was Outcast. You nailed it. You nailed every single clue. He had pictures. The guys who found it missed clues and still did it. Outcast Searcher was the first person to send me the complete solve to a T.
Outcast Searcher's good. Him and 2 other people solved our grand adventure, which also was solved, I think, within 24 hours. The grand adventure we did for the Thrill of the Chase, all those Forrest Fenn related items. So don't feel bad, Dan. It's not just you. The same thing happened to us.
I mean, I'm going up against a Zoom team. I got the best, and I've only been doing this for 2.5 years. So I'm, and that's just complete treasure hunting, introduction to treasure hunting to now, and actually writing my own treasure hunts, not even that long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do another one. You just got to make it more difficult. To me, I like ciphers. Those are difficult. A lot of people, that turns them off, but we'll see what happens in the future.
I got ideas.
Christy as well. Yeah. For us,
I honestly, I think anywhere between, if you can get 3 to 6 months, you want to keep people's interest. you want it to be solvable. I don't want it, you can't go on years with it unless it's a huge, huge prize. But
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
agree. All right, kid. Christy said she's done. That's it. She's got something she's got to do. So, all right. Thanks for coming on, man. It was a good hunt, and we'll talk.
Yep.
We'll talk as far as the coin. All right, everybody. That's it. Thank you so much for the super chats. We appreciate it. We hope to see you all World Series of Fenn weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if you can't make it, I'm going to try and record everything, and you guys will get a video after the fact. We'll be live Thursday, Treasure Hunting Amusement Park. There are still more rides. You guys will hear about them here first. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, go check out that wedding registry if you want to. All right. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.